What's going on, family? Welcome back to Larry's Anything Goes. Hope you guys having a great and exceptional day. It's another beautiful day to be alive, so let's get it, let's get it, let's get it. Alrighty, so this is not anti-American. I'm very pro-American. This isn't really anti-anything. I just thought it was a nice title saying, home of the broken in debt, because that's where we're at. Before I even get started, do the great thiefy things, like, share, and subscribe. If you're not watching on YouTube, go to YouTube, like, share, and subscribe. All my social media platforms will say Larry's Anything Goes, from X to TikTok to Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, all that good stuff. Anyways, at the end of the day, before I even get into the articles that I found in regards to the subject of, the ever increasing population of people who are in debt, losing their jobs, etc., and so forth. The one thing I can say with sincerity is that survey has been done talking about Dollar Tree and Dollar Generals and Family Dollar's new customers that are increasing, and that's six-figure earners, because that's how bad things are from an inflationary standpoint. And inflation has been bad for like the last 2 years, but it has intensified very much so in 2025 due to various different reasons. One, because of high interest rates, inflation, and then, of course, last but not least, tariffs and threats of future tariffs, meaning increasing the percentages of goods coming from other nations to increase the cost of those products coming from other nations and whatnot. Now, I know that supposedly to do this was to make American corporations bow down and start, opening up factories all over the place in the United States. But hey, what's happened recently is a paper mill that has been open for 200 years, over 200 years, has closed in Ohio. So I believe that is very interesting, to say the least. Paper mill closes. Today. Paper mill closes. Yep, here it is. So I wanted to make sure I got this right. I just heard about this one before I went live, but Chillicothe, the paper mill, I'm probably saying this wrong, so I'll spell it out. Chillicothe, paper mill will close in August of 2025, after stating it would remain open. This paper mill that has been a part of the Chillicothe for centuries, a town in Ohio, for centuries, filed an updated mass layoff notice on Tuesday, less than 2 months after it announced it would remain open through 2025. The new notice says that the mill will shut down by August 10th. While the initial shutdown timing was paused in the good faith, staffing levels and customers' demand had declined in recent weeks, such that a further delay is no longer possible, the notice reads. Now, before I go forward, now we're talking about a paper mill. Now we're living in a time where I'm not going to say that paper isn't utilized. I mean, heck, I went to a rental car in LA, and in rental car companies, they still use paper. A lot of airlines are doing away with paper, I'll say that much. Alaska Airlines has done away with paper altogether. So everything is digital. You can't even print out your ticket anymore. You have to. I remember this was last year when I was in Seattle, and this one older couple was like, "Can I print my ticket out?" And the lady was like, "Yeah, you have to get your ticket on your app, because it doesn't give you an option to print your ticket out anymore." And this, obviously, that's saving the company money. They've invested in the technology for people to have tickets on their app. Why do both? And it just kind of, in a sense, it makes sense. Like, I usually don't try to print out my tickets anymore. It's taken me a long time to get away from utilizing paper like that. So, but I will say, in my defense, I do like getting, I love getting receipts. So so that I can get points with apps like Receipt Hog, Ibotta, and Fetch. You know, if you take pictures of everything that you buy, you get a certain amount of points, and then you can get free. You can get gift cards, or you can get cash money back. So it's the ultimate money move. But the fact that this place is, like I said, has been open for 200 years, you know, because, you know, the Midwest is part of the Rust Belt. So, you know, it's like it was the heart, the Midwest was the heart of manufacturing and farming. You know, it was all farming in the beginning, just like all America was farming in the beginning. And then, you know, during a transition from an agricultural society to an industrial society. You know, so same thing in the South. You know, it went from purely agricultural to factory, industrial, and, you know, now it's a little bit of everything, because, you know, with information age, and then of course, but the fact, I'm surprised that, you know, this is supposed to be the era of bringing manufacturing back. I'm surprised that, but in the defense of to the people today in 2025, paper's just not utilized like it used to. I mean, I know I'm 42 years old, but I know that, you know, students are not really taking tests on, even in public schools, they're not really taking tests on paper like that. You know, textbooks are not even as big a thing nowadays. It's like, you know, all these students can look up half the answers. It's the era of Google, AI, etc. and so forth. So anyways, in April, Plexel Paper Mill filed a warning notice that it would be laying off, a warning notice that it would be laying off about 800 workers. It announced that it would be shutting down the mill beginning in June. Days later, Senator Bernie Moreno, Republican in Ohio, sent a scattering letter to the CEO of the paper mill's parent company, calling the move corporate greed, and criticized the company for putting profits over people, which is a surprise because the Republican Party is known for, you know, they always say, you know, the less government, you know, more private, you know, profits, you know, private companies, so that if private companies profit, then therefore they'll be able to create the jobs that, you know, that as long as you don't tax them, they'll be able to create the jobs more. So with the United States, as long as you give them tax breaks. So I guess there goes that argument. But I digress. Anyways, so we'll see what happens. Days after the letter from the senator, the company announced that it would remain open through 2025. We know it's coming to an end. President, United Steelworkers Local 731, Jeff Allen said the cold workers know that their time is short. I mean, at least these people were somewhat prepared and weren't just given a day's notice saying, yeah, we're shutting the facility down and your job is gone. Of course, the morale is very low, and you know it's just shock and sadness, devastation. It was not the news we wanted to get. Understood. Allen said he's a third-generation employee. Both his father and grandfather had worked at the mill. He also had two uncles who worked there. He stated, it raised our families, it's raised the community, it's brought other businesses in the area. Because obviously when you have a profitable factory and people who have good jobs, therefore other smaller companies and bigger companies will move to the community to fulfill the needs, you know, i.e. hospitals, restaurants, car shops, dealerships, you know, the list goes on, you know. And in towns like this, unfortunately, when a factory on any level or paper mill closes down, it devastates the whole town, and basically the town just becomes even more of a one-horse town with an ever-shrinking population, unfortunately. So Pixel said it's helping employees with career transition services and job placement assistance. The company also noted that it is continuing to explore sales opportunities, but is preparing a shutdown if there's no qualified buyer. If there's no sale, the paper mill property will be transferred to the Jobs Ohio or other government entity for long-term redevelopment. One person said, I'm devastated. Moreno, the representative, said, I'm devastated For over 200 years, this community has been built around this paper mill, allowing generations of Ohio workers to thrive and sustain their families. The Chamber of Commerce of this town also said that in a statement that it was committed to helping those impacted. So, I mean, I could go on, but at the end of the day, you get the gist. And, it's like recently in my home state of Virginia, Southern Virginia, I believe it's South Boston area. A factory closed down there. This happened a month or two ago. So the whole notice, and once again, remember, I don't do Democrats and Republicans. I do checkings and savings. But yeah, just bear in mind that it would be nice if more and more jobs like this, paper mill jobs and factory jobs, came back to America. It's a great notion, but it's just not a realistic notion. For various reasons. The cost of the products would go up if it was made here. Number one. Number two, there'd be more robots working in these facilities, and even the current administration has said this. And then number three, it just wouldn't be as robust of a U.S. economy like it was back in the 1950s and 40s. When during the highly intensified industrial age of the United States of America. But I will say with all sincerity that I feel sorry for these people that have lost their jobs. I never make fun of them or make light of these things, but these kind of jobs in the future are just going to become a thing of the past. In the United States of America. America is a great country. Love the United States of America. I'm never going to ever say anything bad about America. But we're in a sense where if we continue to where we're at now, we are, I always quote Dick Gregory, we're in decline. Because if we could get to, we're not there yet, but if we continue on the trajectory of people losing their jobs, not being able to get access to food stamps, not be able to get access to unemployment insurance, not able to get access to reasonable health care, not able to even pay their bills off, even if they do get access to reasonable health care, then we're on the trajectory of becoming a third world nation. And with possibly having, I know everybody wants to talk about the LA situation or whatnot. I just got back from LA. Clearly I'm fine, so that shows you how it's only in certain pockets of the city. But what's happening with LA and the ICE riots and things of that nature. But if you're a nation of, you can't, a nation without a middle class is not a nation I want to live in. A nation where it's only rich and only poor is a nation I would not want to live in. I'll say that with all sincerity. So I leave it at that. But if we continue on this trajectory of things going downward, then the idea of of crime going up and things getting worse can definitely intensify. Just my personal opinion. But what do I know? There we go. I'm gonna say what I had. Okay, so another reason why I wanted to go into the whole, hey, we're broke. Nearly 20. This is an article I found last week. Nearly 25% of Americans are now functionally unemployed. Here's what that harsh reality really means. This is written as of June 7th, 2025. A low unemployment rate typically signals that an economy is generally healthy. The unemployment rate in the United States remains at near a 50-year low in April 2025 at 4.2%. Plus, American employers added 177,000 jobs in April, despite the uncertainty of Trump's tariffs and trade wars. So all sounds good, right? Not so fast. Now remember, yes, jobs were added during that time frame, but does it really make up the difference of the jobs that were, eliminated from the government to the private sector? So it's not so fast. Okay. So anyways, so the true rate of unemployment in April, according to the Ludwig Institute of Shared Economy prosperity was 24.3%, up from 0.03% from the previous month. The true rate of unemployment includes unemployed as well as workers who are employed but still struggling. We're facing a job market where nearly 1 in 4 workers are functionally unemployed, and current trends show little sign of improvement. The harsh reality is that far too many Americans are still struggling to make ends meet, and absent an influx of dependable, good-paying jobs, the economic opportunity gap will widen. And this is true. I mean, the amount of grocery stores that people are doing their best to try to steal food from has increased. The amount of security at a lot of grocery stores around this nation has increased. And, the fact that, people don't feel comfortable buying expensive things just because of scraping by, just buying the necessities, says a lot right there. And every working American is feeling the pinch in that regards. All right, so get back to so anyways, the article says, what is functional employment? So why there is a 20-point difference between the LISEP and Bureau of Labor Statistics unemployment numbers. The BLS collects a massive amount of data on unemployment, but some of that data is excluded from the official unemployment rate. For example, the BLS found that 5.7 million people who aren't employed do in fact want a job, but they weren't counted as unemployed because they were not actively looking for work during the 4 week preceding the survey or unavailable to make a job. So it just goes into the data of the unemployed, the employed, how certain people, if they fall off for a couple of weeks, especially if they're doing an analysis, they might not be counted, things of that nature, But when it boils down to it, the U.S. labor force does not have a full-time job, 35 plus hours a week, but once one has no job or does not earn a living wage, conservatively pegged at $25,000 annually before taxes, up to the most $50,000 to $60,000. At the end of the day, and there's just so much economic uncertainty right now, and the rise of unemployment. Functional unemployment is a concerning development. And, will it be addressed? Who knows? Because, nowadays we hear in 2025, the media is just good about talking about any and all things except for how one can make money, how one can invest themselves, and how one can add value to their livelihood. So the gap of unemployment will continuously rise if the economy continues in this direction that it's actually in right now. I'll just leave it at that. All right. Before I get out of here, this was near and dear to my heart as well. I'm going to Phoenix, Arizona tomorrow, so that's why I usually don't go live like this on Thursdays. I usually do this on the weekends, but years ago I used to have a good habit of bringing all my stuff with me so I can do my videos. But I've learned, because especially it's such an expensive economy right now, to not bring all this stuff and not bring so many bags so I don't overpack. I've learned my lesson the hard way. Gen Z are increasingly becoming, this is a new term, NEETs, NEETS, by choice, not in employment, and it stands for not in NEETs stands for not in employment, education, or training. So this is, like I said, this is interesting, and I saw this article and I was like, NEETs, I like it. This came out as of May 19, 2025. All right, so Gen Zs, the people younger than me, because I'm a millennial. So just like Peter Pan, there's a growing cohort of Gen Zers who are refusing to grow up and embrace life's major milestones to adulthood, like getting some form of qualifications or joining the world of work. This is according to the article, AOL. Instead, they are opting to become NEETs, which stands for non-employed, education, or training, and creating record levels of youth unemployment around the world. Not even just in America, but around the world. According to the International Labor Organization, about a fifth of people between the ages 15 and 24 worldwide in 2023 currently NEETs, and a recent PwC report showed 4 in 10 Gen Zers are ready to quit and survive on unemployment benefits instead. Now, before I go forward, they used to give millennials, my generation's flack, 10 to 20 years ago, and because we were different from the Gen Zers, and we were different from the baby boomers, and we didn't look at life the same. So I'm not going to be this kind of person. I'm not going to be the old guy that is looking at the Gen Zers that way, because I look at like any other generation. There's positive aspects of Gen Zers and there's negative aspects of Gen Zers, just like any other generation. But I will say, so my generation was a generation that got screwed in the 2007, 2008 economic downturn. Okay. I was only a couple of years, what was it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 years out of high school at the time. Luckily, I was established. Luckily, I never lost my job. And when I did lose my job during the economic downturn between 2007 and 2012, I only lost my job for like 2 months. And of course, I lost it during Christmas time, which was the worst time. And that's the only main reason why it took me so long to get a job. Because everybody that was hitting me, because I was in the contracting world at the time, and everybody that was hitting me up, they only just wanted to utilize my resume to compete for a contract. They didn't have a start date. They didn't even have a job. And I got so frustrated to the point where I'm just like, do you have a job? I need a start date. I'm unemployed. I just got down to the brass tactics. They wanted to play the game, and I was like, no. This is back in 2012. And it got to the point where I just stopped answering people's phone calls. I'm like, before you go further, do you have a job? Do you have a start date? I'm not coming in for an interview unless I know you have a job. I need to start working immediately. So I ended up taking a job that paid me half of what I was getting paid because I just got tired of playing the games. But anyways, moral of the story is, my generation was considered to be weird because we weren't considered company people. We didn't just want to work at a job for 20 years or 30 years and whatnot, because we came into the job market in the early 2000s, when pensions started to become a thing of the past. 401k was the way for a quote unquote retirement plan. And then 2, corporations were at that point just starting to say, hey, some of us might be in existence in 5 to 10 years, some of us won't. We're boom and bust and whatnot. Or even the idea of working at a corporation that is even still in existence to this day was like, no, because we wanted to be able to increase our pay and increase our assets, our skill sets. And we know just staying with one company, for the most part, there was only a handful of companies during that time, and it's still to this day, corporations that are a place where one could get molded and one could stay for a long time, like a Google or an Apple, et cetera, certain tech companies, that's if you can keep your job nowadays. But there's certain, when it comes to corporate America, there's only certain companies that one can do that nowadays. When our parents were growing up, it was normal to work for a corporation or government agency for 20 to 30 to 40 years. With the millennial generation, that changed. And now with the Gen Z generation, it's changed even more so, because we're talking about a generation that's had to deal with COVID. A lot of people couldn't even graduate in 2020 and 2021. They just got their diplomas in the mail. We're talking about a generation that, when the world finally opened back up, the world had changed. We're talking about a generation even right now, shout out to the graduates of 2025. It is a different world. So for my generation or in the previous generation before me to be as judgmental when it comes to Gen Zers and calling them neats, it's, let's just be realistic. This generation has so much access to information than any other generation in history, number one. Number two, they know that having a job for the most part can be a dead end. And then number three, they just don't value the fact of having an overpriced car, having an overpriced house. They value quality of life. I'm 42 years old. I value quality of life more than I do anything fancy. Peace of mind, having a lifestyle that I don't have to take a vacation from, having a lifestyle that I'm excited about. That's really a lot, not all, some but not all, of the Gen Zers. They just want to be able to be excited about life. I've seen videos online where Gen Zers move to work on a federal park and wanted to be a park ranger, just live a simple life. I've seen them go work for mom and pop corporations out in the middle of nowhere because they just want to live a simple life. As long as they have access to the internet, they're happy people. And a lot of people just don't get that, the idea of being involved in a rat race isn't so sexy like it used to be. Never really was, to be honest with you. Anyways, I digress. So the article says in Spain, more than half of a million 15 to 24-year-olds are neither studying nor working. Meanwhile, in the UK, almost 3 million Gen Zers are now classed as economically inactive, with 384,000 youngsters joining the workless class since the COVID pandemic. The studies don't delve into what's inspiring young people to ditch the rat race and opt for a life under their parents' roof or public subsidies, but separate research highlights that even if they did start climbing the corporate ladder, buying a home of their own still feels like an impossible task. Well, that's just because everything's overpriced, especially in freaking Europe, but yeah, it's everything's overpriced, and especially if these Gen Zers are graduating college with a mountain load of student loan debt, and with the way the economy is as of now in June 2025, yeah, it's not looking too economically viable. But what do I know? Gen Zers are delaying the life milestones. This should be interesting. Reams of research shows that those in their early 20s are earning less, have more debt, and see higher delinquency rates than millennials did at their age. Credit reporting agencies, TransUnions found that 20-somethings today are taking home around $45,500, with millennials at their age were earning $51,000 when adjusted for inflation. And this is true. I mean, when I was younger, in my 20s, I was making more than what most 20-somethings are making right now because the economy was different back then. Despite earning less, young people today are being forced to dig deep for basic necessities like food, groceries, and gas, thanks to inflation. Meanwhile, house prices have increased more than twice as fast as income has since the turn of the millennium. Let's just face it. The new term is "you will own nothing and be happy" is real. It is very real. It is very serious. I can't put it any other way. Okay, meaning that you won't own your car if you have one. You won't own your home if you have one, and you will be happy. As long as you can get drunk, get high, play video games, and splurge on anime and superhero movies and sports, and argue over frivolous political things, you'll own nothing, but yet you will be happy. That's where we're at right now. It's not where we're going. That's where we're at with the Gen Zers. And that's the scary part. And the sad thing is, this is true regardless of who's in the White House, governor's house, or mayor's house, because I know people want to argue these things online. And I was like, my mindset is like, look, if we're going to argue, let's argue about some money. Let's not argue about politics. Let's not argue about rich people. But I digress. You know what I mean? I just got to keep it real when I say that, Hold on a second. Could you please close your door? I'm recording right now. Thank you. But yeah. So, article ends on this note stating that hustling is a last season. Girl bossing. Excuse me a second. So yeah. So anyways, yeah. So it says hustling, girl bossing, or work hard, play harder just doesn't quite have the same grip on Gen Z as it did on millennials starting out. Many young people today would rather protect their well-being than compensate their way up the corporate ladder, only to not be able to afford the McMansion their parents bought for a fraction of the price. Even those who do want to work don't want a career. Instead, many Gen Zers are eyeing up easygoing jobs that don't require regular overtime, antisocial working hours, or substantial responsibilities like managing a large team. Well, I mean, let's just keep it real. I have to really keep it real. It goes back to quality of life. A lot of people who manage a team, a lot of people who, a lot of people who manage a team, a lot of people who climb the corporate ladder are some of the most miserable people, whether it's in the government, on a federal, state, county, corporation. They're not, all they do is work. And for a lot of people, especially Americans, or they can say Westerners, because we can include Europe too, quality of life means a lot. Now, to somebody that lives in a third world country, that's considered a spoiled mindset, so I can't argue that. But for us, quality of life just means a lot. All the accolades and the money mean nothing if we're stressed out all the time and not enjoying life. Shout out to my recent people I've worked for. They enjoy their life with themselves, with their families. God bless them, man. They work hard, but they sure as hell play hard too. Another thing is, it says others are avoiding office jobs. The hottest role right now among Gen Zers are in the teaching, where low pay is balanced with weeks of vacation. Meanwhile, non-grad Gen Zers are picking up tools and taking up the trades jobs in record numbers, which is awesome. Trades workers make some good freaking money. Some people don't want to be stuck in the office. I'm not mad at that. The idea of being a part of corporate America is a dying thing for a lot of people because, once again, quality of life. I'll never forget seeing these people who work in the tech industry and other industries took cuts in pay because they did not want to live a regular, dull, boring, predictable life of getting up, going to work, and living in an overpriced house and having an overpriced car. For a lot of people, that is a death sentence. And a lot of people just can't respect that and understand that. So, last but not least, says mental health struggles. At the same time as unemployment among the youth is rising, their mental health is in decline. Gen Zers are nearly twice as stressed out as millennials were at their age. More than a third of between 18 and 24-year-olds are suffering from common mental disorder, the article says, like stress, anxiety, or depression. And Gen Zers are taking significantly more sick leave than Gen X's 20 years their senior. Youth worklessness due to ill health is a real and growing trend. It is worrying that young people in their early 20s just embarking on the adult life are more likely to be out of work due to ill health than those in their early 40s, researchers at the think tank Resolution Foundation previously. Because at the end of the day, it's like, then another thing is, because a lot of, when you're younger, you usually eat crappier food. So that usually doesn't help out with one's health. Number two, if one's stressed out, it doesn't help out with one's health, no matter what age they are. And then number three, if your mental isn't right, if you don't feel like you're worthy, then you just say the heck with it. Especially after you try a lot of times. Article says that really, is it any surprise that those mentally struggling would avoid joining the world of work when more than half of CEOs even admit that their company's culture is toxic? And that's the thing. Who wants to work in a toxic environment? I mean, this is how people end up going postal, meaning they shoot up places. Quality of life matters the most. What good is you have? One thing I can say about the Gen Zers is, like, what good is it for them to be in the position that they're in if they are miserable? I can't put it any other way. What good is it for them to be in this position if they're miserable? Man, quality of life, bro, you can't put a price tag on that for me. That's just me. All right? That's just me. So, anyways, family, you get what I'm going at it. Let me know in the comment section if you're a Gen Zer. Let me know in the comment section if you're a person who's struggling to deal. If we see somebody that maybe your kids, if you're a parent and your kid is a Gen Zer and you see them struggling in this life, speak on it. You just never know. You just never know. You just never know. Speak on it. Let me know in the comment section, because I found this to be a very interesting conversation, subject matter, because a lot of these young people, I don't really engage with them too often, because I really don't engage with too many people. Despite what you may think, I'm very antisocial myself. But and then another thing, I gotta hit the nail on the head. This is a generation that grew up with the cell phones. This is really all they know. Like I said, millennial generation, my generation. I mean, like I said, we're in our early 40s. We grew up without a cell phone, so it's not as crazy to not have our cell phone compared to this generation. It's very addicted to them. So, but anyways, like I said, let me know in the comment section whether you're watching live or whether you're watching in the future. Let me know in the comment section what you think about the current state of the United States of America. Political BS aside, I'm talking about purely economics. Let me know if you are a Gen Zer, or if you have Gen Z friends, or you have Gen Z family members. And let me know whether they're doing good or they're doing bad. It's all about perspective. So, Orlando, do the great things like share and subscribe. Have a good day. Thank you for the Cash Apps, Venmo, and PayPal. It's always greatly appreciated. Don't forget to check out my other channel, Patterson No Properties. And as I always say, big money moves are going to live like before. They say in Spanish. Bienvenido a la vida. Welcome to the life. I'm out. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Larry's Anything Goes. Hopefully, you're having a great day. If you've been watching Larry's Anything Goes programming, you know that we are not only providing great financial intelligence content as much as possible by interviewing other financial professionals, professionals in the travel industry, real estate industry, etc., and so forth, but we provide various services when it comes to specific products that we sell, from anything that you would actually find on Amazon or actually at Walmart, etc., and so forth. And we are actually providing specific products due to today's current crisis and whatnot, to ensure that we provide the right services and products that you need at a reasonable price when it comes to medical face masks, when it comes to hand sanitizer, and when it comes to latex gloves and things of that nature, and etc., and so forth, toilet paper, paper towels. But we have what you need. Also, family, don't forget that Larry's Anything Goes is a part of an affiliate marketing network known as Gold Standard Partners, where you have the opportunity to buy cryptocurrency and allow others to invest with you as becoming an affiliate marketing partner. And obviously, if they purchase a package with the program, you're able to make money off their package purchases and make money off of their crypto purchases and things of that nature. If you want to join, please follow the links in the description, and I'll give you a call as soon as you sign up and purchase a package, and we'll go from there. But definitely, it's all about the best way to make money moves is to have currency with one another, and to ensure that currency is always being spoken of on all levels, so it benefits everyone and not just one specific person. That's a lot of things that people forget about. So think about joining the program, and we'll be able to go from there. But if not, either way, it's always appreciated. And thank you for watching, and hopefully you guys have a great day and continuously make money moves so you don't live broke like a fool. Take care. As you can see, with our various products, we have our financial apparel, as you see, wearing There's Anything Goes t-shirt, financial intelligence is sexy, face masks, latex gloves, things of that nature, to obviously ensure the safety of you and your family all at the same time. We want to ensure that you get the best products and see the actual products that we're actually providing for you, and giving you another view of not only the shirts and the medical masks, but actually another view of actual latex gloves and the actual hand sanitizer. Because one thing we've learned throughout this unfortunate crisis is that we have to take more precautionary measures to ensure not only the safety for ourselves, but for our families. And having a great pair of hand sanitizers, latex gloves, and medical face masks will ensure that safety. And with all that being said, hopefully you guys will check out our online store. We have the various products that you see here. With a couple of clicks, especially if you're paying via PayPal, it makes life that much easier for you to purchase our various products, especially during this unfortunate situation. You see the apparel from Larry's Anything Goes. We have the medical products when it comes to hand sanitizer, latex gloves, medical face masks, and things of that nature, and various other products. So please check out Larry's Anything Goes. Support small local businesses. We greatly appreciate it, and hopefully that you have a good day.
now.